Nash grabbed the overhead rail, his feet swinging under him as his forward motion continued to carry his body aft. He twisted around and then pulled himself forward along the rail to the edge of the hatch. "How you doing back there?" he called to Commander Eckert over his comm set. "I found where the line splits. I've spliced into the port run. If I can get a signal back from the port detonator, then I'll try the starboard detonator." "What are you going to use for a power source?" Nash asked as he swung the hatch partially closed. "I took the battery from one of the portable lights in the maintenance locker back here. That should give me more than enough power to set up a connection between my datapad and the detonators. Did you get the control cards?" "Yeah, I got them. Maybe we should destroy them just to be safe?" "Not yet," Nash replied. He grabbed the rail that ran vertically alongside the hatchway, checking to make sure he could brace himself properly while firing. "We might still need them. I thought you said we weren't getting out of this one. Allow a guy a little hope, will you, Skeech?" "Yes, sir." Captain Nash heard an odd sound coming from the forward end of the ship, like metal scraping on metal. "Something's going on forward." Sparks rained down from the overhead hatch in the middle of the EVA room on the other side of the main cabin. "They're cutting through the hatch," he said, lowering his voice in case the enemy was within earshot. Nash pulled the hatch nearly closed, leaving himself just enough room through which to fire on anyone who might enter the main cabin. He wrapped his left arm around the vertical rail alongside the hatchway to brace himself, then grabbed the close-quarters automatic weapon that was dangling from his chest harness and pulled it up into firing position. "I'm going to wait until as many of them as possible are inside before I open up." He checked that his safety was off and that his weapon was ready. "How much ammunition do we have?" Commander Eckert asked over the comms. 4 mags, so about 200 rounds, plus 2 mags for my sidearm." "Make 'em count. You're just worried about getting those detonators working." "Yes, sir." The sparks stopped spraying into the EVA compartment and the overhead hatch swung down and aft. Captain Nash cursed the designers of the old FTL scout ships for inadvertently giving the intruders additional cover during their entry into his ship. Something moved on the other side of the hatch, a shadowy silhouette descending from above, a helmet followed by a body and a weapon. Captain Nash leaned back, barely peering around the edge of the hatchway's collar as he watched the first Jung soldier rotate once around, checking both fore and aft for any signs of life. The soldier's helmet lamp cast an eerie set of distorted, moving shadows as it pierced the dimly lit interior of the ship. The intruder descended further, flipping over upright as his feet cleared the overhead hatch. His boots touched the deck and affixed themselves with 2 dull clanking noises. "Damn it," Nash cursed under his breath. "They're in full pressure suits and they've got some kind of magnetic boots or something." "You can still vent the cabin," the commander replied. "Just punch holes in their suits first." "Yeah, that's the idea, Skeech," Nash replied as he watched 2 more soldiers drift down through the hatch. 3 more soldiers, for a total of 6, moved to either side of the EVA compartment, hugging the walls for safety. One of the men, presumably the leader, made gestures to the others. 2 of the soldiers turned and proceeded carefully through the forward hatch into the operations compartment. The other 4 turned aft in the direction of the main cabin and Nash's hiding place. 2 going forward, 4 coming aft. I'm going to wait for them to reach the main cabin. "I've got the emergency purge command ready to activate for everything forward of you," Commander Eckert assured him. Nash watched as the first 2 men stepped through the hatchway from the EVA compartment into the main cabin. They moved with practiced precision, one going left while the other went right, weapons held high and ready, sweeping them from side to side. They moved along the edges of the cabin, taking note that 2 of the pods had not ejected. The next 2 soldiers stepped through the hatch with equal expertise, again splitting left and right to follow the others. Nash leaned in just enough to train his weapon on the leftmost Jung soldier and squeezed the trigger. His weapon burst forth short, staccato flashes of bright yellow fire, sending its deadly projectiles into the compartment. He held the trigger down, sweeping his weapon from left to right, then back again, emptying his clip. The soldier on the far right managed to get a shot off, but his aim was interrupted as projectiles tore through his suit and flesh. Blood sprayed out from all 4 suited bodies as they shook in morbidly comical fashion, their magnetic boots still clinging to the deck beneath them. They did not fall. Instead, their arms dangled slightly outward from their bodies at odd, unnatural angles like gruesome marionettes. Globules of blood, varying in size, spread out the main cabin, staining the surface of everything they touched. The scene was surreal, unlike anything Nash had ever seen or heard of. Those men, mangled and disfigured with expressions of horror and pain frozen on their faces. Bolts of red streaked across the cabin.